Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how does he know that?
Yes.
She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast. My name is Jen, and decoding the matrix for us is Danny Gewer.
Jennifer, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. How are you this evening?
I'm doing really good, as a matter of fact.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Tonight we're going to be diving into the design of Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, let's dig into that Tucker. I've been watching.
Well, he's always digging into other things, so.
Yeah, he really is, and he's in the news a lot these past couple of days because he left Fox, and he leaves Fox and he produces a video from his basement, and it gets 20 million views inside of hours, and the rest of the networks could just dream of such a thing. They never, everyone wanted to see what was up with Tucker.
Yes.
He's been doing some important things. And we can never attest to the awakeness of the being, but we can notice that the serendipity of a person's life seems to take them down the trajectory they were designed for. And that's what appears to have happened to Tucker. And he started blowing the whistle on things that you can't say, like a lot of them.
Yes. And anyone in the position that he is in, being in the media, the news especially, they need to start speaking up. They see so much stuff behind the scenes on what to say, what not to say. I mean, how controlled it is and everything like that. Someone needs to really start bringing awareness.
Yeah, they see it all. They really do. They see so much stuff back there. And I can't wait to dive in, because what I'm finding is, what is it that allows Tucker to naturally be able to do what he does and have gotten away with it for so long before they finally booted him? And if you've ever watched him, he's got this wanton don't care thing. So it's like he saw the bright, shiny subject and he's like, the people need to hear this. And then boom, then that night he's out talking about it. You're aware that he published the tapes, the footage from January 6th that the regular people wouldn't publish. The authorities wouldn't publish it. They wouldn't put it out.
Well, of course they don't want it published. Yeah, I had heard something about that.
He had Dr. Malone on the show. He had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Just a few weeks ago. Full hour-ish long thing, maybe a little less. And at the end of it, he was like, I'll vote for you. And it's like, dude, you can't say you can't say I'll vote for you in a primetime spot like that to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., president. It's just, so when we look at his chart, we're going to see why Tucker's sort of able to beguile the forces and not care. And that's half of his powers. It sort of just doesn't care. And let's pull up his chart, Jen.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Here is Mr. Tucker Carlson.
American commentator. What gives him look at the look on his face? He's like, I don't care. I'm about to say stuff. I'm about to say it again.
I thought that was a good picture.
That was a great picture. I'm about to say more stuff. I could stop in 5 minutes with this whole thing. In the first minutes by pointing out, oh, he's a 2-4 profile. I could just stop there. But we know what that second line does. It needs to be called into the thing. And I'm starting there because he's on the cross of contagion. He himself is made contagious to his own self. His own little hermit self is giddy with his own contagion, never mind the contagion around others for something cool, as it relates to whatever the thing is he's about to do. So he's his own best cheerleading squad. In fact, Tucker sits there, all this openness on top. He sits there having taken in so much stuff that he allows himself to laugh his ass off at what he's about to do. It's not like, it's not like he's dumb and so like it doesn't aware that, hey, this might ruffle some feathers, but it's so intoxicating. It's contagious. It's in the word. And that contagion brings a certain, just like the word says, a contagion for the thing, for whatever the thing is that this person is sharing. So he's not afraid. So anyways, 2-4. Let me start there. Line 8, gate 8, line 2 in his profile is this holding together, this gate he needs to make a contribution. He's got an open throat, so he needs to attract attention for his contribution. It's his favorite thing in the whole world, is attracting attention for that contribution, right? Open throat, wants attention. Well, this open throat got the attention. And
it did.
He's vocally acrobatic enough in it. He's a great commentator, and he's never short for words, and he's rarely off on timing. And he laughs a little bit obnoxiously from time to time because he's so tickled pink at something, but that's not his fault. That's just the nervousness of an open throat sometimes. But regardless, gate 8, line 2 says, I must be, as it relates to me, realizing that to make a contribution, I have to share that contribution. And then I can empower others or else it's not made. It's not made if it doesn't empower others. In that he's of service. It's called line 2. It's called service, the highest good, to serve selflessly. That's it. It's one of the shortest lines in the book. I just don't see them this short very often. The I Ching, the potential to be an example through unselfish expression. So all the times he would be willing to be on both sides of a thing, he was. It was one of the things that was so difficult that people went onto his show and had to try and beat it down with, you've seen now what the beat downs look like, right? I'll be louder. I'll be outraged. Yeah. That will substitute for logical substance in a conversation, right? That'll win the argument because I'll make people feel emotional. He's willing to be on both sides of things. I've seen him do it. And then that people can't stand it when he asks the tough question, when he does the hard thing. They hate it because he's so contagious. Like, don't you be contagious around me. And then he's got, and this 8, this driving force says, dude, I need to be of service. I can't feel good as a generator if my contribution isn't empowering 20 million people. So, and they hate that. They're like, we're just giving you more fuel. You're going to empower more people, but we're so pissed. We're going to yell at you anyways. Yes, 2 news stations, MSNBC most notably, has obviously inter-office memorandum stating we have to conduct a continued takedown of Tucker Carlson. They've gotten to the point where they just known misinformationist Tucker Carlson. That's just sort of how they refer to him. Every day, day after day, they're saying this about Tucker because it's that obvious how much they can't deal with what he does. And he's a 2-4. He's a little hermit about all that. They try and pressure him about something. He just goes home and closes the door. He goes out in his garden and just he's got a garden. I saw a little moment of his wife talking, and he's got a garden out in the back, and he just goes out there and it's like, no, I successfully sidestepped your requirements of me to care about what you want me to care about. Because I'm a hermit. Bye. I stop being influenced. I bigot thee. So Tucker, we have to talk to you about stuff. Maybe, maybe not. If I have to, force me. Maybe, that's Tucker. So the 14, you're gonna love this line. This line beguiles. This Gate 14 was the most exalted in the ancient Chinese I Ching. They these gates along the top of the sacral and the bottom of the G center, the Chinese I Ching tended to exalt, almost all the lines. Apparently, the 14th gate had all 6 lines or 5 lines. Actually, I think they stopped at 5 lines exalted. They were all exalted. And line 14, possession in great measure. Line 2, wisdom that investing in expertise brings rewards. Wisdom that my sacral power, once generated, once enthralled into the process of bringing my suddenly called expertise out into the world. What's his expertise? To get to the bottom of certain things and publish.
Yeah.
I've got an expertise on putting these stories together. I love these freaking stories. Oh my God, I'm all called into this. Oh, this is exciting. Oh, all my friends are around in my network at my studio. Oh, I'm empowered. You can't stop me. I can't even tell there's a great big bad world out there. Look at me. I'm talking. Whee! That's Tucker on a daily basis, even though the topics are rather grave. As soon as he starts talking, he turns into what we see. You can't tell how much of the prompter he's actually reading because he's in it. Because of the possession and great measure of the sacral power to sustain at bringing this into a direction, bringing this to a contribution. It's this expansion. It's all about expanding the ability to delegate responsibility. The key to power lies in not trying to be and do everything alone. And that's perfect for a second line hermit. Delegate that stuff and go hermit yourself while other people are doing things. I don't know for sure, but I bet you if we get a hold of people, I'll bet you $1 million we get a hold of the people on his staff that were like direct to him. The vast majority can be like, dude, he was awesome. Oh, yeah, no, it paid just fine. Oh, dude, it was a perfectly good job. I'm sure it's high pressure, by the way. It's a newsroom after all. But aside from that, they signed up for it. And I guarantee you he has a high degree of loyalty. I guarantee it. Because the other beings cared that, hey, this guy seems to be living out his 9-centered existence. He's not afraid of the authority. Now let's get to that. Where is he not afraid of authority? All over the place.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yes. Gate 18 wants to challenge authority off the spleen. We talk about this all the time.
An open spleen.
And an open spleen. So he has to be in his network of friends. And as soon as he's in there, it's defined, and he's challenging everything. His wife probably defines his spleen. That would be the norm. And so Gate 18 just wants to challenge that authority. And look on the left-hand side, it's the law. It's in Jupiter. Gate 18, line 2 on the left, Jupiter. This takes the morals of what one develops and concretizes it into the 10 commandments and the word from God to Moses into law. It codifies things into law. And so when you allow the law to express itself, suddenly Tucker Carlson is healthy and he's okay. It's a second line, so it's directly resonant to his profile. So when he is called, he is also called to challenge. He's got... Yes, he's called into challenge. And he does it, dude. It's striking. No one could have done this on Fox News or on any news station that's a regular legacy news, propaganda news outlet. Nobody could really get away with this except for him during this time. Then he's got this channel of initiation between the ego and the ego and the identity center, the G center. You have this channel, Jen.
Yes.
We know what this does. This wants to initiate things, and it doesn't mind playing the warrior sometimes. No, I'm leaning into this. No, we're doing it. It doesn't mind saber rattling at the same time if it needs to. And it's individual, so it's unique. So Tucker's unique warrior spirit doesn't often fall prey to the melancholy that says there's nothing new under the sun. I feel insignificant. Sometimes. He's human, so sometimes he will at home, right, in his home life. But he's greatly rewarded. And what do we know about the ego? When the ego gets its reward, it's like crack cocaine. It's good.
Yeah, satisfied.
Yes, it feels really good. And so he's designed to initiate news stories that come out into the world and challenge the status quo. And that's a warrior spirit that feels good.
Mm,
Is that a stoppable thing? Is that something easy to stop? No,
no.
no. It would be easy enough to stop in a broken soul that didn't have the luxury of being allowed to be able to afford to be himself, mostly to the degree to which he knows to be. And then he's got a gate 21. We know what gate 21 does. It needs to control its environment. It's tribal. It's the enforcer that must control its environment. So gate 21 on the left-hand side this helps set up his morals, his mores, the virtues, the values that will show up in the things he'll end up communicating will have everything to do with 21 line 4, which is about displaying your power to control this environment in a way that is also part of the network, doing so influentially. So not just like a jackhammer, I'm in control. That would be the lower 3 lines. This is transpersonal. So he does it in a way that is able to be communicated, but this power goes out of his ego and it goes into the other. And like, no, this is Tucker's show. So the people on Tucker say, no, it's Tucker's show. We feel part of the team. Tucker makes us feel part of the team, but it's Tucker's show. He has it. That's his environment. He's in control of it. When you live in an environment,
It's named after him.
yeah, technically, now that you think of it, right. So when you've got this going on in your body graph and you're living it out day after day inside of your own little control room, how easy is it for the brass to tell him what to do? Not very. Mm. How easily will he and his environment succumb to the pressure of all the outside agencies calling him Hitler, Hitler Tucker and stuff? They talk to him like known fascist propagandist, election denier. They just throw everything at him.
Mm-hmm.
He may care about that sometimes. Sometimes he'll experience his emotional wave over all of that. Sometimes he'll have all kinds of things, but mostly he doesn't care. He's in control of his environment. He's healthy there. So then we've got this channel down below, this channel of recognition from 41 to 30. Wildly experiential, but it's unconscious. So he's always taken for a ride by this. And so we know a person with an ego is going to attract others that want to compete with him. And he's be like, no, I'm first. I did this. I'm going to do this. I feel good. I did it again. Oh, look, I did it again. And that's a healthy ego doing what egos do, challenging themselves to be first amongst themselves and do the thing and do it well and feel great about it. And when you get the chance, share it with others. And so we know the ego cares to be competed with by others. We know the ego keeps its deal and rolls up its sleeves and faces the forces when need be. So they'll face it. They got that ego willpower. And now comes along in a defined emotional solar plex center. And what do we know about that? We know that the solar plex center, if it's defined, you're more capable of handling the emotional confrontation. So avoiding confrontation is not really his shtick. That's the open solar plexus shtick. Avoid that confrontation. Worry yourself about that confrontation. Stay away from it a little bit. Make up a story, lie. Things of this nature happen with an open solar plex center often because that emotional wave that goes into them, they want to avoid it. It doesn't feel good.
It happens with the emotional being as well.
It sure does. Yep.
So I don't want people out there to think that, if you have an emotional center that you're not going to
do all the things I said.
Yes, because it depends on how, what has happened in your life. But there's been times where I have wanted to avoid confrontation. I think,
totally, Jennifer. But in the confrontation field, the open emotional center is truly nervous and afraid as a fear state being emanated out of the brain and the mind that says, hey, this is your fear state trying to make you do something about it. And we know what mind does. It only gets it wrong. It can only get it wrong. So even accepting the fear state is act one of the mind getting it wrong, in a sense. So all getting at is that you take this emotional wave and you put it with a defined ego inside of a cross of contagion, inside of a 2-4 that just wants to be called into the next thing it's all excited about, that's self-absorbed and self-concerned about these things, mutative in a pulse, needing to control his surroundings. You put all that stuff together, and I'm sure some confrontations make him nervous, but mostly, whatever, bring it. There's two types of bring it out there, right? There's the people that say bring it and they don't really mean it, and so they don't do well when it's brought. And then there's the people that say bring it and they speak softly, carry a big stick, and they mean it. He's definitely the latter.
Yes.
I'm not saying he won't run away from some big freaking multi-sized wrestler who's going to break him in half. He knows his limitations. I'm just saying, mostly standard human conflict showing up. He's got the gate of conflict twice in his body graph. Bring it. Bring it, bring it. He and I have the same two truths, by the way, because we were born real close to each other. Mine are in different lines. Yep, the 6 and the 47. So his emotional wave is unconscious in him. And so therefore, with that being the case, he only knows he's going down when he's down. So he doesn't spend a lot of time super down. And if he does so quietly and or with his wife. I bet you dollars to donuts he shares it with his wife. Guarantee you that. Because this is a design to share that. Designed to. However, it's also a design to hunger for the experience of the feeling you just latched onto. And if the world has been rewarding Tucker Carlson for all this time for latching onto experiences and feelings of doing sort of at least doing totally the right thing. But if you want to water that down, he's at least basically doing the right thing given the environment of the news media he's in. He's totally doing the right thing. By comparison to them, he's an angel. He's Michael compared to them. On the real world stage, compared to everyone that you talk to, I assume he's still about the same, but I don't know. I can't attest to that part.
Right.
He's been rewarded. I imagine he is, though. I hope you see some. Tucker, if you see this, I bet you're basically the same offset as you are on, which would be the norm for this contagious fighting for a feeling. And it's in his sun. It's in his sun, in his design, in his earth on the design size. 30 says, I'm hungry for this feeling. I've latched onto a feeling. And 29 says, I'm going to commit my sacral energy to it along with gate 14. And I'm going to get contagious about all of that. I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to persevere. I'm a second line. I don't know why I'm persevering. I can't help it. I like it. It's fun. I'm saying it. We're having John F. Kennedy Jr. on, and we're going to let him speak. Did you tell the bosses that? Hell yeah. They know my whole program. I'm having him on. You know, they know what he's putting on. He doesn't just, he doesn't just get to air live with, well, I imagine he does air live sometimes, but mostly, you know. So you put all this together, and he's designed to attract the right attention, to reach the right progress, to make this contribution of righteous news coming out. It shows all over his demeanor. He could care less. I see the nervous laughter come out of him at times, and he doesn't really see it as nervous. He sees it as genuine. It is his genuine laughter. I'm just saying it comes out at times like you can tell it's an open throat. And he has learned very much how to use this open throat to mask and be all the voices. That's what open throats do. They become pros at being able to meld and be a chameleon amongst the various voices. And he changes his tone to fit that all the time. Me and you, we can do that. We can do that, Jen. But, you know, we have a defined throat. And so naturally out of us comes our one or two ways that we're defined. Because it's defined.
Yes. Yeah. Recognizing that with the defined throat.
Yeah. But in any given time, you and I can adapt that throat and modulate that frequency to adapt a situation. But we're adapting it. When an open throat person gains access to that, they're open to the communication. They're not just adapting. They become it. Because they've been it for so long. And so you and I could adapt, but we wouldn't stay there. Tucker can adapt and stay there for weeks if he has to. I mean, if his warrior spirit wants to and the feeling is there and he feels called, you know, you and I would revert back to our original, whatever our original factory settings were more quickly.
I like how you put that, original factory settings.
Yeah, that's what they are. And so... I mean, this is Tucker in a nutshell. And I want to look at one of these big splits that he has in his body graph. So he's a split definition. That solar plex and that root aren't connected continuously to the sacral, the G center, and the ego, will center. So there's a split there. There's two of them. Gate 59 is missing. And so Tucker deals with the conflict until there's the right connection to feel intimate in certain ways. So basically his team, hiring his team is sometimes for him an ordeal. He's always trying to bridge that split. But the one that stands out the most to me is the 5342 from the root center, the gate 53 that is white, it's not there, and the gate 42 that is there. That gate 42 says, I'm hungry. I'm hungry to watch this whole new experience go from a beginning, go through the middle to the end. It says, I'm hungry to get to the end of this thing and bring this thing to fruition. And it's a format channel, so it formats everything else in the body graph, that 42. And let me see, where is it on the left-hand side? 42, line 1. That's the judge. So the law is he must challenge, and he will be judged by his capacity to bring that challenge through to fruition. It's on the left in Saturn. The judge, 42, line 1. Line 1 is a harmony to the fourth line. So that which the feeling he has that commits to being externalized is going to challenge and be called into the challenge. He will have investigated how he's going to bring that to fruition. I've never seen his stories have crappy beginnings, middles, or ends. He always brings it to fruition. He's driven to do this.
Yeah.
So, but he has no gate 53. So the sadness that comes in here and the hangups for him are when he's not sure, and the things that will then get all these open centers really ringing with all their not self themes of thinking about stuff that doesn't matter, concerning yourself about certainty, holding on to things that aren't good for you, speaking out of turn, trying to attract attention, uncertain about what to say, uncertain generally. All of those themes are triggered quickly by gate 53 at times. It says, I start. It's the dog that wants the bone. Let me start. It's a dog on a leash that's not supposed to be on a leash. It's like, dude, let it go. Let the thing go. That's what 53 is. And he wants to be it.
He definitely plays that out.
Him wanting to be it. So what yep. I promise you again, in his network, in his shop where he gets his broadcast made and done, he's got his close-knit team that he works with, and others will bring that 53. So it's there. It's just that if you say, Tucker, okay, 1, 2, 3, start, he feels sad sometimes when he doesn't know how to start. And then suddenly not self comes out and starts hijacking that ego and makes the warrior jump outside of a response, outside of emotional clarity, outside of knowing it was the right thing to do. And suddenly he's too spontaneous, which the warrior needs, but the emotional authority says, no. Time, my son. If you take time to make emotional decisions in a wave, you'll come to clarity over a few days. Don't leap right away all the time. And 53, the missing 53 has conditioned him to want to leap right away all the time. And again, he's 50, so he's my age. So by now in his life, he's totally got that under wraps in lots of different ways, but he will recognize that energy, and it's never gone until you really start looking at it. And even then, it's never gone per se. It's just lessons, and it's not the same thing anymore. It doesn't make the decisions. He has made decisions based on who he is not, based on his desire to start something without quite always knowing how to really get it started. And those are the spots where he has run into the most issues. Yep. So that's Tucker in a nutshell. He is the bane of their existence because 2946, I forgot to do that channel, the channel of discovery. Our client had this today. This 2946, it is dying to say yes and get its commit all of its fixed energy into this pattern that will challenge authority and be an experience inside of his body as himself, in control, being a warrior, satiating the feeling, and being contagious. And that's Tucker Carlson. And I can see why they let him go, because you can't control this. Once that genie's out of the bottle, why would they ever go back? It would take,
Yeah.
yeah, he'd have to go to prison to go back, and then he'd just get contagious in prison. So he'll never go back. He doesn't need to. So
Well, no, not if he can, do a video from his house and pull in those views.
right.
Like there's why would you?
Yeah, let's go back full screen. He really did put truth to power, Jen, over and over. So, we always have these questions. Is a person captured? Are they controlled opposition? Are they this? Are they that? To the degree to which he may have been manipulated to be such things, he wouldn't be it knowingly. Most likely, that's my theory. It's just a theory. But even so, he managed to put truth to power, whether he's got certain compromises or not. He's done it stunningly. So over and over again, he's the one talking about, hey, Ukraine, what is all this money going? What are we doing? It looks like a proxy war. He's the one talking about that talked about he had the guy on who did the Nord Stream pipeline story, who broke that story and said, yep, US blew that thing up. All of them. He put vaccine injured people on.
Oh yeah. I mean,
no one else does that.
That whole web of things is deep in how they do it. If anybody has read The Art of War, then they can probably have a good idea of what the manual is that they are following. But once you recognize things, it's a repeat. Him being in this type of business, if you're going to be a commentator in any of the stations, you're going to see something to where they control it. Whether he's gotten to the point where he's just sick of it, because there's a lot of reporters out there that are just getting sick of it, and it's good that he's doing. But how they control people is through blackmail. That's right. The biggest thing that everyone seems to forget. That's why Epstein is no longer here. No, he did not kill himself. And two, why they have not released what is on
Plains Maxwell's
yes,
legend.
Yes, that is why. So I think a lot of them that are even included in all of that in one way, shape, or form has been abused by the system that is just needs to come down.
Right.
So even if he is I don't feel like he's controlled opposition, everyone right now is playing a part. So he obviously is in a great position to play that part. And if he's triggering people to do their own research, that's all it is at the end of the day.
Yep. And he sure is. And he brings through it pretty good research. And he shows his work. He does segments long enough to show his work. And so that's important.
Yeah. I'm happy to see that. Once they let someone go like that raises a flag. Like, being
Spotify wanting to get rid of Joe Rogan. What the hell was that noise?
Yeah, I mean, they don't want, for one, the reason they do that, guys, is because they don't want people to think for themselves. Period. So at the end of the day, always do your research and don't just skim it on the, surface level. Dig deeper and tap in, ask higher guidance.
Well, Tucker go ahead. What?
I was going to say, great job.
He made his contribution and he's continuing to do so.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. He's definitely playing a part and he's doing one hell of a job at it.
Awesome, Jennifer. I think we killed it with Tucker. I'm very happy about that.
Yes. Robbie says, hey guys, great show. Hey, Robbie, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Robbie.
Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed, and that's all we got. We will see you guys on Sunday and hope you have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the show and share this out. And if you haven't already, book your session with Dan.
Book your session.
Right.
Catch you later.
Get to that video.